All right.
Great. All right. Then I will call this meeting to order. This is the Hamlet of Beavercreek board meeting, March 18 of 2021. It is 7:11 p.m. and this meeting is conducted solely via Zoom. So I think that's it. If you have any questions, raise hand or raise your hand. I did send out a revised agenda this afternoon because one of the land use activities / decisions shifted up to application. And that was the one that we talked about last January. It's the subdivision. And in January, they were asking for a variance to be able to have 6 lots instead of 5 lots. And we discussed it and gave some input on that. So when I'm off of Beavercreek Road, north of Tioga and south of Henry C. So now they submitted the application, a whopping 75 pages, to now begin to move forward with it. And that's what I literally received on email today. So I did forward that all to you. Oh, sorry, Bill. Yes?
No, I just wanted to say, I've posted it on our website with that, but it's not on our board agenda on the website. So there's a little disconnect there, but the new application is now on our website with a link to the file and the first page of it for people to read.
Great. And I wanted to note kind of an odd thing I've never seen before. The variance had a different Z number. It was like Z05 something. And now the application, usually they keep that Z number all the way through. And they didn't. They changed this one to Z0098. So just for website linkage, just wanted to bring that up. And,
Okay.
and what's I think almost more important is that it will be on the agenda for the community meeting next week. So that's the important part, I think. Anyway, so I'm sorry, I have not had time today to go through that 75 page. I'm not thinking we'll see any surprises on the variance part of it. The only input I received, quite frankly, was from Norm and Judy and Dream, because their property actually borders this. And they were a little concerned about the wetlands. There's a wetland area, but as you will note in the description of the application, the very last sentence says, the property is sloped and has a DSL identified wetland. All proposed development is located outside of these areas. And at the time, those were the only concerns that Norm and Judy had. So it got addressed literally in the request itself, which I think is great. But we'll get a chance between now and Wednesday to go through that to see if there's anything we see or pull out for community discussion. Did anyone have anything they wanted further to discuss about that, or? Okay. And then under our activities and decisions, this was, oh boy, this is crazy. This is, I don't know if you guys had a chance to read this, but okay. This was measure 49. We talked about this, I want to say back in November or December. Visualize Beavercreek Road and where Karis crosses over. And in the northeast corner, they applied for a 49. So it was the original house and then 2 2-acre lots. Not a big deal. I mean, we've seen these. We know if they meet all the state regs, they get them. Clackamas County is requiring an 8-foot bike path in front of that property all along Beavercreek Road.
They're requiring an easement. They're not requiring the bike path. They're requiring an easement for a bike path. Should one be developed in the future is what I saw. Maybe I'm seeing it wrong.
It says approval 5A requiring 8-foot bike lane along entire frontage of South Beavercreek Road. I mean, so lane, easement, I didn't see the word easement. Yes, Cheryl?
My first question is why? My second question is why? And my third question is who's going to pay for it?
Right. So, okay, those are all good questions. Number one, the reason the county's moving in that direction is because Beavercreek Road, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, please, it's an arterial. So on arterial roads, they're now requiring bike bike paths. Number two, I can tell you who they're planning, they want to pay for is the developer, is the Measure 49 people. Now, why it's on our application, or excuse me, our agenda tonight, is this is being appealed, and the attorney on the appeal has asked almost all of those exact questions, Cheryl. But it's far more that no other area for miles has a bike path. Even the fire department, that's a half a mile down the road. And so, you know what, I have that application and I will forward, the appeal, excuse me, I'll forward that to you so you can read. I would like for you to read the attorney letter. Mind you, it's clear in the back of the application. So when you start to go through it and you're like, why am I looking at all this? Get to the back and then you'll see the attorney letter. But that's why it's being appealed. And
Is this going to be like the cousin to the sidewalk in town that connects to nothing and goes nowhere?
Yes.
yes,
So is it a requirement though? Based
well,
on that.
it's a condition of approval. So to get the 49, they have to agree to do it, and then it's a condition. But if it's appealed and if they win, then it'll be taken off as a condition.
I wish we knew somebody on the planning commission.
You're so mean, Bill.
Right under the bus.
I know it. There we go. So it's just, here we are. We have codes and zones and we have things. And when it gets applied, it just gets applied, whether it makes sense or not. And then it's unfortunately up to applicants and property owners to appeal and hire attorneys and that kind of thing. So no, it of course does not make sense. It won't make sense 20 years from now. 50 years, yeah, it will. But it's not even in the metro urban growth boundary. So it's a little crazy, but yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that discussion. Yeah, Jess?
What can we do? What are our options right now?
At the community meeting, what I'm going to do is shift this up to one of the on the agenda in the application, and I'll be far more well-versed to discuss it at the community meeting. And at the community meeting, we will provide input. So, do you know what? The hearing was today at 1. Yeah, I just looked on my form.
Oh, look.
It's on the form. So there's nothing to do at this point. We will wait and see what happens, but so we may have that decision before the community meeting. So, good question, Jess.
But what is the decision to make then?
Well, if it goes to, if the hearing officer says they can go one of many ways, they could say, no, you don't have to do it. They could do what's called fee in lieu. And fee in lieu means you pay a fee and it means you don't have to do it, but that money goes to a project that makes more sense. It could be that you provide an easement for future development and you can't develop on that 8 feet until it makes sense to actually develop it. And then they can develop it on an easement. Or they can say, tough beans, you have to have a 8-foot bike path on Beavercreek or you can't develop your 49. So I think those, Bill, am I missing any other options?
I think that you got it there. And I think that the likeliness of what's happening is going to be that it's out of our hands. You're absolutely right. It's in the hands of the hearings officer, and they can take it to court if they want to, but that's out of our hands in any case. And I think that you're probably right. And the most sensible thing to do would be to require them to not develop in that 8 feet and keep it open so that it could be developed at some time in the future if it was ever needed to be, like you said, 50 years from now, maybe.
Right. And they may have to literally record it as a future easement, just so you couldn't develop. And I'd probably be willing to go down that path. So I guess, Jess, let me take that one more step further. If the hearings officer says you have to do it and they don't want to, they can go to Land Use Board of Appeals. They could appeal this to LUBA. So that would be their next step. Yeah, Joe?
So there's already a setback of a certain number of feet for an easement that is required. Now, is this in another 8 feet on top of that?
Yep, from the middle of the road out, I want to say 20 feet. And that's the middle of the road, 20 is the road easement, and then it would be another 8, yeah.
Okay.
Right into your field boots.
I've got a question.
Yes, Jack?
Is there anything that we can do as the board right now addressing to the planning commission who made this decision, saying that we're upset with it? And reason is that there is no other bike lane on Beavercreek Road, period. And it was a improper decision in our opinion.
Okay. We can
Even though it's
absolutely write a letter. It doesn't go to the planning commission. It would go to the planning director, and that's Jennifer Hughes. And I think it's incredibly appropriate to share our feelings about it. And, you know, in the letter, we can explain, we got this a little bit, you know, too late for the board to actually take action and then to share with the community and have the community take action. But that doesn't mean we don't have an opinion about it. And, you know, if you wanted to form that, form that in a motion, Jack, I think you probably get board support.
okay. I will move that we send an appropriate letter to the appropriate person stating our displeasure with their decision.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Bill Merchant. And any further discussion? I'm really happy to draft that. Jess, unless you want to take a hand at it, or would you like me to draft it? Cheryl?
And my blood sugar dropped. I had to run in the kitchen and get a cookie.
Okay.
Can we make it a point in there somehow that it's in an area where it goes nowhere and connects with nothing?
Oh, God, yeah. Well, what I would do is draft a letter and run it by you, just to make sure we hit on each topic and think of things like that. But again, when you read the attorney's letter, it does cover all that, but we'll want to mimic it. And, you know, it isn't a bad idea. It's just bad timing.
Tammy,
Yeah, Jack.
maybe even a picture
Oh,
attached,
sure.
showing the actual spot and
Yeah.
saying why.
Oh, no, I can do much better. I'll do a Google Earth picture. So I can zoom out. I'll do a close up and then zoom out and show that there's none for well over a mile, which I don't even think that the Hamlet itself even has a bike. It has a sidewalk, but it doesn't have a bike path. I don't think there's a bike path till you hit Henrici, is there? So that's what, 3 miles away.
Actually, I think there's the bike path going north on Beavercreek Road does start about Henrici,
Right.
as I think about it. But it doesn't go south of Henrici at all.
No. So you're 3 miles away from
Yeah.
the bike path. And I can zoom out and circle that. Oh, this will be fun. So Jess, do you want to draft it or do you want me to draft it?
No, I can draft it.
Okay, why don't you draft it up, and that would be awesome. And just put blank lines, and I'll put in Jennifer Hughes' name and stuff. And then once you and I massage it, we'll get it out to the board. I'll work on the Google Earth map though. Okay, beautiful. Okay, all right, so we have a motion, we have a second, we've had our discussion. I think we can just, oh, Jack, your hand's still up. Did you have one more thing?
No, I
Okay.
was just say aye.
Okay, so all in favor say aye.
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 Hi.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? And abstained. Okay, unanimous. Okay, Jess, yeah, if you'd love to draft that up, we'll start down that road. And I will get that to you immediately, so that if you want to kind of peruse what the attorney said. Okay, yeah, that timing sucked, but. All right, on to the next. Katie is not with us, but I got an opportunity to chat with her today. So on her list is the revised map for the entire Hamlet. And the map maker and Bill are working through the very, very final details on the adjusted boundary around the golf course area. And I think once that's nailed, he'll be ready to get us something. So I believe we're in the final throes. Do you feel that way, Bill?
I think so, yeah. And it's interesting because I worked with Jim in the past a long time ago. So we sort of know who we are at least. And the letter I wrote back, the email I wrote back to Katie and copied Jim on so it doesn't have to play post office going through Katie to get it over to him.
Right.
I sort of elucidated why the gray area, which he had shown as other CPOs, which was really the Kara CPO, and how that should all be included together. And, it was just sort of crazy. And then I also sort of just gave him a little ding because I know we went over this years ago, that it's not Beavercreek Hamlet. It is the Hamlet of Beavercreek with the and of part of our name. And so the county should respect that since they're the ones that adopted the name. And,
Good. No, it's right.
just wanted to remind him that officially we're the Hamlet of Beavercreek.
Great. Thank you so much, Bill, for staying on top of that. And then the 2021 Zoom meetings, they're in a testing phase now, and they will be creating a training video. So for people that like Jess and Cheryl that were going to volunteer to run these Zooms for us, you will have a training video, but she said they're like right on the cusp. Bill?
Will the video be better than the Zoom videos? The Zoom company videos? I'm just wondering because Zoom has all kinds of wonderful videos about how to run Zoom meetings.
Oh, cool. That's great. Okay. Then Clacko, we're still hoping to be in the Clacko, whatever it is, newspaper, magazine, announcing the merger. They are perusing the pictures that are currently on our website to use. If they find some stuff they'd like to use, they will contact Bill and me to get a higher resolution of any of those pictures. So they'll just see if they see a couple that they really like. And if the resolution's high enough, great. If it's not, they'll let us know.
I think that we should go out and take some pictures because like the Beavercreek Park on Leland, we never took pictures of that because it was never ours. So why take a picture of it? And so it might be nice to take a picture of people walking their dogs or something like that around there as a sort of a long shot to say, this park is going to be part of Beavercreek. And, the corner there, which is Fisher's Corner, take a picture of that and just say, you've probably driven by this. The golf course is now going to be part of the Hamlet of Beavercreek, and just take some more pictures around that will help illustrate the Karis part of the Hamlet of Beavercreek.
Okay, I don't know where the deadline is on this. I mean, it could be tight, but let me make a note. And then anybody volunteering to go take some pictures? Jess, you are, oh, yay.
And I will too, as soon as it gets sunny. I mean,
Yeah.
Pictures in the gray are pretty dull and.
Oh, come on. Like that's our natural climate.
Yep. Cool. That'd be great. And then any pictures that you like that you take, just literally shoot them straight to Katie and save for the Clacko ad. So that I mean, I love the idea because then that's immediately going to draw them in. I just know with Clacko, not only they're usually on a tight deadline, but we're going to be lucky to get more than one picture. So we don't have to think we're going to get a whole layout on it. But okay. We just got today the best practices for a media program from Amber. She is now on family leave. I've not even looked at it. So I'll look at it and get it out to our media team and the whole board so you can see what she produced. It's two different things. And I haven't read it, so I'll get it out to you right away. I'm insanely sorry, but we're still struggling with Facebook. Fong, who has been helping us, he did everything he could in one direction. Now he's trying something else. And I keep following up with him, but I can only put so much pressure since he's volunteering. So we'll see. I'm afraid we're going to have to start over, which isn't as big a deal, but I haven't gotten the answer to, if we start over, how do we take down the Facebook that we have? So this is a super cluster, and I'm just hoping we get this fixed. But anyway, I will keep you posted. The follow-up on the survey of wildfire experience is now being flagged by Katie and the Committee for Citizen Involvement to be at the April leaders meeting. They want to start there and say, you know, several of you at this leaders meeting dealt with the wildfires, and on a survey, where should we focus? So they're going to kind of launch that survey thing there and then go further. So it's not getting lost in the shuffle. Nothing, she doesn't really have anything at this point to report on the county youth program. And then the Hamlet welcome signs that have yet to be put up. She's handed over to Ellen Rogland, which is great. Ellen is mega driven and super organized, and I'm working with her on another project. So she and I'll be talking and hopefully get that resolved. And that was it from Katie. Jack, anything from our sheriff's department? Oh, I'm sorry, Cheryl.
Did Katie send us a revised Excel sheet from with the Karis people?
I thought she did. I have to look in my emails here to see. You know what? Let me just write that down, Cheryl.
Okay, that's fine. I don't need an answer
I
at
thought
the
she
second.
did. Revised Excel. Okay. Right. Okay, good. So, sorry, Jack, any Sheriff's Department deputy info?
No.
Okay.
Not really right at this time. As you know, they've been still busy the last couple of months with everything that's been going on. I am going to really try to push the sheriff, who I know is a good friend also, the new sheriff. And I'm going to really try and push her to make sure we have a liaison that participates.
Yeah, that would be really great.
Another, I just want to let everybody know, by the way, I got my second Moderna shot and everything went well.
Yay. Who else had their shots? Jack, Joe, you had one. Uh-huh. And so Jess is, I think, no, not yet. Okay. Well,
She's
congratulations.
expendable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. Who needs a
You're-
control room?
No.
Geez.
Okay, so.
You should have been on the first round. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I had both mine. Mine were Pfizer, nothing. I mean, nothing, just a little sore arm, and I was really thankful. Lots of Moderna people on the second shot felt cruddy the next day, but then that's, I don't know. Okay, hey Jack, one more thing. When you follow up on the liaison, you know, on a wish list, I would love to have them be on our community meeting, like just once a quarter. If they could do that, maybe on our town halls, the January, April, July, and October, that would be super. And, you know, we could give them a simple, here's what we'd like to know, you know, what's going on sheriff wise in the area, how best to prepare for that quarter, you know, just 2 or 3 things that they could always speak on so they feel that they have something to report.
We'll certainly pursue that.
Okay. Oh, that'd be super. Thanks, Jack. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, I'm assuming not. Okay, Cheryl, treasurer's report. Oh, you didn't email one. Did you email one?
I forgot to send it to you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The checking account has $1,239.68.
Got it.
The trust account has $3,067.
Got it.
cash account is 4884.
Great. Okay, thanks. I'll just put it on the
Yeah.
agenda. Anything
Um,
else on the treasure side of things? Things are quiet and fine and,
we did not get a stimulus check.
oh, darn it.
Um,
PGE,
Neither do I.
I'm feeling like you got it worked out. Of course not.
can I expense my next hair dye appointment
Yeah, no kidding.
to the county?
Is it still going on?
We had the emails from PGE saying that the bill was paid, the payment was received. I have not received anything from PGE saying that the payment was rejected. However, while I was on the other side of the state attending a funeral, I had a voicemail message from, oh my God, Tammy, I forgot her name.
Oh, Kelly, Luke,
No,
Sue Hildick, Stacy Davenport.
Nancy Wilson.
Oh, okay.
I never connected with her. But she left me a very, very lengthy email yesterday that I can put in a real quick summary. Sorry, Cheryl, the county screwed up, is basically what she said. I have no access to the checking account. I cannot use the phone or anything online to access the checking account to verify whether or not the PGE payment was cleared. She said that Brian contacted the bank and the ACH numbers they thought were wrong. However, in checking with US Bank, there is something that the treasurer's office did not submit properly, which caused the payment to be rejected. But again, I received no notification from PGE that the account was rejected. So I may have to yet again call my close personal friends at PGE to establish the auto pay one more time.
Do we want to do that, Cheryl? Or do we want to give up and start just paying this month?
I'm not giving up.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I like it. Okay, super. All right, you go. Real quick, Cheryl, I just sent you the most current Excel spreadsheet I got from Katie.
Oh, thank you.
And then I am right now sending everybody again the bike path piece. Again,
Okay.
near the end to see the attorney part. So that'll be in your email. All right, let me see that's it. And then, so you're still working on PGE. Hamlet Treasurer's Manual. I've gone through it. I think I've got the suggestions. I think really the next step, Cheryl, as you were saying, is why don't you and I schedule a coffee and I'll pretend like I'm the new treasurer and I'll go through and
Yeah.
see if I can work off of yours. So we'll schedule coffee on that if that's okay.
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 And you will need to be here in my home to do that.
Yes, if that works.
Okay.
for you. Yeah, okay. All right.
And I'm going to take the Hamlet of Beavercreek's version and copy it and make a county version, which would be everything minus the Quicken parts.
Okay. Oh, that would be great. Yes, for the other Hamlets.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
perfect. Nice job.
Next on my little list here is Bill. I am sorry that I did not share that credit card information with the rest of the board. I think I got it like last October, and I had foot surgery the end of October, and I kept telling myself I need to put it on the agenda so everybody would know what was going on. And it got tabled to the point where it fell off the end of the table and I forgot about it.
Oh, well.
And
But I
that's,
think he is talking about the checking account, not the trust account.
Okay, that's unusual. Because I sort of was thinking it must be associated with the trust account, because if we're doing an event and are raising money at an event by doing something, selling t-shirts or selling wine or whatever it is we're selling at
Mhm.
an event, then having a handheld card reader that connects by cellular network to the back-end processor makes lots of sense. But it would be having, because the county owns that device, they can't put it directly into our checking account, because it would have to go into some county account, because the device is going to be associated with an account that is in the possession of the owner of the device. So it's going to have to go someplace inside the county, and maybe then they will forward it on to us. But if they've only got one machine and Stafford uses it and we use it and Malino uses it and Water District uses it, or I mean, West uses it because their machine went down and this is the temporary fix that they've got so they can continue to accept credit cards, because that was also part of what Brian said. It's clearly going to be something inside the county that will have to be redirected to the appropriate receiver of the funds.
By the
So
way,
anyway. Jack, did you say something?
and hopefully it doesn't go the way that the PGE stuff is going.
Hopefully not, yeah. But the question that I had about all of that was, how is it earmarked for the Hamlet of Beavercreek if we use a shared device? And then the other questions that I put in the email replying to Cheryl, and I don't know if I copied it to everybody, was what about taking contributions online? We've had people say, we'd love to give you some, contribute to the Hamlet of Beavercreek. How do we send you our credit card number? And, if this device can accept card not present payment, which is the technical term for somebody giving you the number over the phone, that would be one thing. If it can't accept that, then we couldn't do that. And that's a huge hassle anyway, because then somebody would have to call up on the telephone and call Cheryl and say, Cheryl, this is my credit card number. I want to give the Hamlet $20. And Cheryl has to go through all of this rigmarole to get $20. But in the meantime, Cheryl also has the credit card number, and that fur coat looks so nice. And, it's just such a mess. You don't want to do that. So it's, it would be nice if we could figure a way for people to make donations over the web, either on our website or on the county's website. I mean, I wouldn't mind putting up a link that went from our website to the county's website that said, donate here. That would be fine. If they want to continue to have it, if they're afraid of us having lax security on our website, fine. I don't care. Let them go over there, because that's what most e-commerce stores do anyway. You create a link to your product and a price, and PayPal does the processing, or Square does the processing, and you just put your link on your site, and the back end all happens over at PayPal or at Square. And nobody at our end on our computers has any access to that information. It all happens someplace else, and we are therefore not liable for anything going wrong with it. So if somebody steals your credit card number and you made a purchase, on Amazon or something like that, you don't have to pay for it, because it's all secure in the transaction. So those are my questions, and I don't necessarily expect an answer, but those are my questions.
I have a
There's, deposits that go into the trust account. The county has assigned an Excel sheet. They call it a deposit summary, where every time I make a deposit into the bank, I have to remember, as soon as I make the deposit, when I get home, I have to fill this Excel sheet out and send it to them, because they know when deposits are made and they want a confirmation from the treasurer. So it's just a little something that I need to keep in mind if we move forward and do something that's automated, to at least get the attention of the treasurer's office to maybe even hopefully just eliminate that process. It's a pain in the butt step, but
Yeah.
they say they want it.
I have a question.
Oh, yes, Jack.
Is there any possibility, and you know, I don't understand why not, that Cheryl at the US Bank, where we do our banking, open up an account to the name, the Hamlet of Beaver. And at that point, we have a separate account, separate from the county, just for these reasons.
Can't do it, Jack. You have to have a taxpayer identification number or an EIN number to open up a bank account. And the Hamlet doesn't have either one of those.
And, you know, we attempted that because we were, didn't realize it, but we attempted it with Key Bank, and no, I mean, we can't. Now, I want to take one tiny step back. When the Stafford did this, which Stafford has done it, they did in fact link the card to their checking account, their account number with, you know, which is not fundraising, it's not trust account, but it was the checking expense account. They logged each of the deposits or expenses, whatever, and then showed it to the liaison and cut a check from checking to the treasury or to the trust account. That's how they did it. What that they should never been allowed to do it. It was the only way they could use the slider thing and get all the money into an account that then was transferable. Anyway, and it's not clean, but I know that's how they did it, because there were little heart attacks happening all over that they were putting fundraised money into the expense account. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know that we have a solution yet, but the one thing we do have is a treasurer that will help figure out how to make this happen. And so actually, Bill, I'd thrown this down. It was your email that you'd sent on, but down on your agenda item number F, like Frank, I put Cheryl and Bill utilizing a square for Hamlet business. And then caught, you know, a lot of what you said, Bill. What happens if we have donations or online sales, or a card is not present or good, or and then ticket sales to like movies? I mean, all of those are really, really good points. And I don't know that our expense checking or our trust is the solution yet, but I think Brian Nava will work with us to get that figured out.
Yeah, I agree.
All good stuff. Does that help, Jack?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good.
And I think Brian will help us figure out a way of doing this if it's within the ability of the county to do it. Because one of the problems is the county is restricted in what it can do. And, you know, if the county as a government entity can't do something, we can't do something. And, you know, it just rolls downhill to us.
Great. Cheryl, anything else?
No, that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Joe and I are getting together tomorrow afternoon, and we're going to be planning the steps for the wooden sign.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Got all the pictures printed. We're ready to go, and we'll get it figured out. We just have to have a trailer and a trackhoe to get all those telephone poles in there, but we'll figure it out one way or another. Okay.
And we'll have to get some dry time first.
Oh yeah, Oh, yeah, I don't see this happening. I think right early is June, but
Yeah.
we'll get it figured out.
I'll have my skid steer back by then.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else, Joe?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, yes,
Oh, yes.
I'll be out of town next week, but I'm gonna try to make the meeting through the computer. I'll be on the coast.
Oh, great. Wonderful. We'll have a good time. That's
Thank you.
great. Okay. Thank you. Jess, how about you? Anything to chat about?
Yeah, sure. We talked at the beginning part of the year about a social media organization platform called Hootsuite,
Mhm.
and just wanted to ask the group where that is standing, or if we need to, or if it's even the right time to go about implementing something like that without Facebook being fully operational. I mean, is that I don't remember a decision or anything
Well,
being made on that before, so I just wanted to raise it again to say, what do we want to do with this, or
well,
if
I think
nothing.
it's totally a part of the media committee. You know, Bill and Cheryl and you and me and Melissa, and
Mhm.
that it's that whole bundle of the social media and the press and then everything else kind of all coming together. Facebook is, I still believe it's such an important pivotal point to our, especially obviously the social media side of it. And once we get that piece, it just, it's a log jam right now. Once we can get that one log out of the way, we're going to go through with your Hootsuites and your, various things that we've been working on. Right now, I think we can be working on this wonderful stuff that Amber just sent out today. So I'll get that to the board like right now. And we can all, as a board, and also the social media team, be looking at that for what to learn and how does this apply to Beavercreek? Where are we in the steps of a good program and that kind of thing? So I wish we were signing up for Hootsuite at this time, but we're not ready. I'm still working with Fong, and I'm hoping we can get that dang log out of the way.
I guess my point here is, why are we waiting for one platform when we have at least, what is it, two others that we can be operating under, and can we, even if it's manual for this next meeting next week, what's the plan there? Like, is
Go ahead, Bill.
I just wanted to say there's lots of other things. I was just looking at something called Convertkit that turns people who look at your website into followers who get emails from you and get more connection with you. And it's an automated way of trying to get people connected to you. And those are the kinds of things that I think we need to explore, not just Hootsuite and Twitter and all of those other platforms, but how can we use these automation tools? Somebody mentioned SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey's great. And for low volume usage, it's free. So, doing something with SurveyMonkey is great. Doodle is free for low volume kind of stuff. And we just need to know what some of those options are, I think. And if we want to move on beyond the experimental free stage, how much might it cost? Because there's lots of stuff that's out there that you can sign up for free, but then if you do 5, it costs you, and you can't do that stuff. And, I just would like to help compile a list of everything that we're doing, like Hootsuite, and seeing, what is it now? What is it might be in the long term? Like right now, we're using WordPress as our sort of front end for our web pages. Is that really the best way? I mean, that's what Melissa just chose for us, but there's lots of stuff out there besides that. I mean, there's the Square site. There's the, I know at least 3 other kind of web page hosting entities that give you all kinds of cool stuff that you can do. And frankly, our website looks pretty stodgy. It's pretty, 1990 kind of looking. It doesn't look modern at all. And that's sort of part of what WordPress does. So, we should look at everything, not just Hootsuite, but, who's our hoster? How much are we paying for that? Is free better? It might be better to pay something and have better graphics, better look to the whole thing, better engagement with people. And I think that part of the team that's going to be looking at that needs to look at all of those things, not just piecemeal kind of approach. We need to look at the whole thing and see where we are and what we want to do.
I think it sounds like we need immediate committee meeting. I think we should let me do what was it called, doodle poll, and
Yep.
see if we can't get the 4 or 5 of us together. And I think this is a very appropriate conversation. I might even see if I can't invite Fong so he can talk to us on the very front end about where he is on the Facebook, and then he can drop off and we can continue. So Jess, thank you. I mean, let's keep moving. I truly believe this is our highest priority. I just get mired down and I don't know what to do next. And
Right. And so that's also why I wanted to bring this up, right? Because I don't want to get bogged down with the Facebook conundrum. But there are things that we can be doing for the meeting next week, even if it is manually. I mean, Bill's been doing the website. I think some people have been posting to their own Facebook accounts. I think that's what I want to discuss here today is what can we all be doing to help for this meeting coming up next week, whether it's posting on our personal Facebook accounts or whoever has access to the Twitter. Like I don't want to sit.
yeah,
So
no, and we are doing that. Do you belong
Okay.
to the Beavercreek Oregon Forum on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, that's when I do something, that's where I go if it's Beavercreek. I mean,
Okay.
that's what got us through the wildfires and the COVID stuff and the ice stuff. And I mean, that is an incredible link. Now, I don't know what the boundaries of that are, but it's better than nothing.
Okay. So you post there.
I have been. I only did.
Okay.
I've done 2 things. I haven't been putting agendas. Probably should be.
Oh.
But if do you do Twitter, Jess?
I know how to use it, but I don't know the Hamlet's Twitter, like to post from the Hamlet. Like I can post on my own, but I don't think anyone follows me.
Oh,
So it's not gonna go anywhere.
is the Twitter information on your login sheet, Cheryl? You know, that login and password you gave me, is Twitter on there?
No, Bill had said that we have an account, but no one has ever used it. And that makes me wonder if we've never used it, is it going to bring anything to the party if we revitalize it?
Well,
And maybe that's a discussion for the technical meeting. I don't know.
Well, for right now, for next week's meeting, that's what Jess is asking about. We can put it on Beavercreek Oregon Forum on Facebook. We can, obviously, Bill puts it on the reader board and the website. And Melissa Logan puts it out on her email of all the Beavercreek Bulletin people. So that is, in a sense, what we can do. And Bill, do you have our Twitter? Because is Twitter like Facebook where you can put things out on Twitter, but unless people like it or join it, you're not connecting to anyone?
Twitter's like a fire hose. You can push stuff out of Twitter and nobody sees it. It goes on to it goes on to the, everything spew, but people don't pay attention to that because they mostly pay attention to people they pay attention to. So it's, if you like and follow somebody, you'll get their tweets. You'll find out what's happening. So if you wanted to follow at Beavercreek _OR, that would be the Twitter account that you'd want to follow. And I will be glad to give anybody the password if they really want to do it. The password needs to be changed because it's an old password. We really need to change it. But anybody can do that, can log in on that Twitter account and post as the Hamlet of Beavercreek and post what's going on there and direct people to our website, direct people to our Facebook account. Facebook can direct people to our website, direct people to our Twitter account. Our webpage can direct people to our Facebook account and to our Twitter account. It's all this sort of connecting things up together so that you try to miss as few people as possible. Of course, you can't get to everybody, but the more arrows you throw in to the air, you're going to hit somebody coming down. So that's the idea behind most social media. Now, there's more to social media that I'm not really up on or keen on doing or anything like that. Using Google to track who's coming to your site, using metrics. I mean, one of the things we've got on our website right now is all kinds of metrics, but I don't really know how to read them or care about them. But we can see which pages people look at the most, which pages they don't, how long people spend on a page, all kinds of stuff like that for tracking. I hate to pry into other people's business, so I don't really want to know what it is they're looking at. I want to just put it out there. If they're interested, fine, but I don't want to try to coerce them into following me. But anyway, that's a part of our big social media discussion.
Okay. Well, let's do this then for next week to answer your question, Jess. Bill is obviously taking care of the website and reader board, and I always send the agenda on to Melissa for the bulletin. Are you fine with putting something on Twitter and the Beavercreek Oregon Forum of Facebook? And it wouldn't be necessarily the agenda, just that our community meeting is next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Please go to our website or the Zoom link. And maybe when we get to the agenda part of our meeting tonight, we could have a highlight item. So we'll get there in a minute. So does that answer your question? That being for right now, and then I will do a doodle for our media team to get together and begin to keep this log jam or get it moving again, because that's exactly how I'm feeling. We're just stopped in our tracks, and I don't know what to do. Fong is, I think, doing everything he can, but it's not happening. And I don't know if I should call another social media company. I don't know. He thought he could do it, but yes, Cheryl.
I honestly think we need to ditch it and put our efforts into something that works. And I think there's an easy enough way to redirect people who already like our Facebook page.
And therein lies.
And deleting the old account.
Right. There's what I said to Fong. If you can't do this, how do we literally take it down, make it go away so that people aren't looking at this stagnant group on Facebook, and then create a new one? And can we transfer the people over? And he's like, oh, I'm checking. And I really believe he is. He's very earnest, but it's not happening. And so
right.
As of tomorrow, I will be back on that for sure and see if we can just say we've got to keep moving. So what do we do now? And I mean, I hate the idea of it all, because as much as that group is not the fancy, it's still got a lot of stuff on it. And a lot of it I like. There's a whole bunch of pictures I like on it. There's stuff that we would create it just the same. It might be a little differently organized, but I hate to lose it. I'd rather critique something than to start over and create it. But anyway, anything else, Jess? You'll handle Beavercreek Forum and you'll handle Twitter. And Bill, will you email her the password?
Sure.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And then I did just email you all the social media, 2 PDFs I received from Katie, who got it from Amber. So you should all have that on email now. Okay, Jess, anything else? Okay, and Bill, you're on, and you have a bunch of things, so I'm just gonna let you take off.
Okay, R1 Act meets only every other month, so I don't have anything to report from them. Development Liaison Committee, I think has ceased to exist through COVID. I think it's just not going to happen anymore. I haven't been told one way or the other. The CPO Summit, actually, you can probably fill us in a little bit about this, Tammy. The CPO Summit submitted a bunch of information to the Planning Commission about things that the CPOs would like to see, mostly regarding the time limit to reply to planning requests. And, you know, just we've got a short timeline because of state law, a little bit longer here in the rural area instead of the urban area, but it's a fixed timeline. You can't play with it too much. And Clackamas County has been pushing and pushing and pushing to make it as short a timeline as possible between having an application and having an approved permit. So that squeezes people, particularly CPOs that don't meet very frequently. Some don't even meet monthly, and so it's really hard for them. So they presented a lot of information to Tammy. I don't know, Tammy, you want to say anything more about
Well,
that?
I do. God, Bill, thank you very, very much. Quite frankly, I received this email, and it's to the entire CPO Summit, and it was from Karen Bjorklund, and basically said what Bill said, that after presenting my testimony for the CPO Summit on the problems and inequities caused by the 12-day limit to appeal staff decisions on type 2 land use applications, inequities because if CPOs don't have the time to work and file an appeal for free, only those with money will be able to do it on their own. And answered questions. A number of planning commissioners got into the brainstorming solutions later during the deliberations. They brought it up again as work that could be done as part of minor changes to the ZDOs. And basically, you know, what they're trying to say is if there's a decision and a CPO wants to appeal under the current situation, they've got to bring the community together. They've got to share all this information. They have to vote to appeal, and they have less than 2 weeks to do all that. A lot of times it's not capable. So the Planning Commission super understood it. Jennifer Hughes was there, and she's like, you know, we have these time frames, and sometimes there is extra time, but a lot of times there isn't. And so in a sense, her hands were tied. So the Planning Commission continued brainstorming. And one of the things that's required is this has to be a community vote. So we brought up the idea of why not modify that to allow the elected board of a CPO to be able to make that decision. That could be done in a day, seriously, just how we can get together. And so Karen really liked that, but it's bragging rights time. This is what she went on to say, and I don't think I've ever been prouder. It said, that wasn't the only thing to appreciate and be thankful for at the virtual meeting. This was a different vibe and procedure than in the past. Planning Commission Chair Tammy Stevens was warm and welcoming to every person who testified, created something of an informal atmosphere that put people at ease, and was very sincere in her courtesy and thanks to each person testifying. Those presenting CPOs and Hamlets were given 10 minutes for testimony with 3 minutes for others, but no one was cut off. While testifiers are still at the table, unmuted and could comment, commissioners asked good questions and discussed ideas, and demonstrated that it meant something by bringing up those topics later during the deliberations in their recommendations. I think they added 7 subjects to the staff's recommendation list, a number of them under the minor changes category, even beyond the outcomes. This is a very different experience from the Planning Commission public hearings that I've been previously, and I appreciate the changes. So very cool. Loved receiving that, because the Planning Commission, you know, what we're charged with is advising the Board of County Commission. We're far more informal, and it's really a fact-finding committee so that we can provide the best advice to the board. And it's being perceived that way. So I'm super jazzed. Yay. Thanks, Bill. Okay, keep going, please.
Okay. The C800 Citizens Oversight Committee Voice Radio, our last meeting was canceled because it was icy and stormy and no power and so forth and so on. So we're going to be meeting again in April. Community Road Fund Advisory Committee is planning to have a meeting soon. We still have some openings on the committee. We're trying to fill those. We haven't got a date yet for our next meeting. We talked a little bit about utilizing Square for Hamlet businesses and donations. Square is pretty easy to get an account with. They do want some kind of basic financial information, but it's not like opening a bank account or something like that. And you can take credit cards and you can take debit cards, and you can do it over the website and you can do it over the phone. And there's lots of things that Square has to offer. They do charge a rate that's a bit higher than other processors, but it's also so much easier to use. So there's the ease of use factor versus the cost. And for low volume people that don't do a lot of transactions, it's a lot nicer to pay more and have less hassle than other ways. So, and anybody can go to the squareup.com website and check it out and see all their things they've got. I mean, now they've got small little Square readers that will read your phone. If you want to pay with your Apple Pay or your Samsung Pay, they'll read your phone. They will read the chip. You slide the chip into the card. You can slide the mag stripe on the card. All those different ways of getting credit card information, and it's secure. So it goes through your cellular network to your phone, and through the cellular network goes into your account, and you have your money the next day, basically. So it's very fast, very easy, and costs a little bit more than traditional methods, but yeah. Yes, Jessica.
What's its primary use will be for upcoming?
Well, for us, I don't know. We have to talk about what we would be doing with it. But I know I have a Square account. I can take your credit card number. I can take your credit card number over the phone. You can just tell me what your number is, and I can put a charge on it and set it in and transfer money from you to me. My wife has been an artist for a long time. She sells stuff, and she can take credit cards, and she can sell stuff. And in selling, you're always looking for the ease of transaction. And it's so much easier to pull out your credit card and just pass it, or your phone and just connect it and do that to make the purchase, than digging through and finding that this is a 20, there's a 10, and all of that stuff just slows down people buying. So it just makes it easier for people to buy if they can use a credit card. And I got to say, PayPal has something very similar to that. I think we know about Venmo, that Brian says do not use Venmo, but there are lots of ways now online to transfer money between people. But the thing that Brian was talking about in his letter that Cheryl passed on was they all require a tax ID, which means that if I were to use my Square account to collect money for the Hamlet of Beavercreek, Square would report all of the transactions that I collected to the IRS under my Social Security number, which of course would mean income for me that I never saw because I'd give it off to that. And I could, of course, say that I donated it all to the Hamlet, but even there, you don't get a one-to-one write-off. So there's a problem with that kind of a thing. And that's true for almost all of these accounts. Since the Hamlet of Beavercreek can't have an EIN number, we can't do business like that. And the county, of course, has an EIN number, but we can't use the county's EIN number because anything that comes in that they don't know where it came in from, where does it go? Just disappears into the county coffers.
I guess I was just wondering where this was coming from. It seems like I don't know what the origin was, so that's why I was just asking.
Yeah. Well, it was talking about things like the Stafford Hamlet has sold wine, and they've made quite a good bit of money selling wine. Now, I looked into it, and I am very leery of selling wine. I don't want to get in trouble with the OLCC about doing transactions like that. OLCC has a specific carve out for charitable organizations like the Hamlet that they can do once a year. They can do a wine sale as part of an event, but even there you have to be careful. You can't let kids come around in the part that you're selling the wine. You know, all of the kinds of things that you would expect to have happen. You have to have food sometimes. You can't just do stuff. There's all kinds of rules and regulations that OLCC has about that. But since Stafford looked at that and was wanting to do it, we started investigating, could we take money somehow? When we have some shirts, we'd love to sell our shirts. How do we sell shirts? Well, you have to come to a meeting. Well, for the past year, you haven't been able to.
Okay.
So, you know, if we could put a website up that said, here's the shirt, here's how much it costs, enter your card number here, or, you know, click this link, which takes you over to PayPal or takes you over to Square or someplace else, so that they're actually handling the transaction. And it's not happening on our website, it's happening on their secure website, but we still get the money in our account. That would be great, but we haven't been able to figure out how to do that because we don't have an EIN and can't have an EIN.
Okay,
And
thanks,
that
Bill.
that was what Brian was talking about and stuff. So we're trying to, it's just a way of, you know, right now, if somebody wants to give us a charitable donation, $50. How does somebody give the Hamlet of Beavercreek $50? The only way they can do it is to take $50 in cash and somehow physically give it to one of us, and we get it to Cheryl, and Cheryl records this donation of $50 and sends it into the trust account that then gets credited into our account in the county as a donation. But it's just, you know, hard, and we want things to be easy. So
Good question.
yeah. Okay, now the rest of my stuff here. Let's see, 10 o'clock church. I have not done anything with our website about creating that page, and I apologize for that. I've just been, you know.
Are you fine with doing that in WordPress, or do you want me to ask Melissa to do it?
No, I can do it. I can do it in
Okay, I
WordPress.
thought so.
It's not difficult. It's just organizing all the materials. I've got all of your material to put on it and other stuff. And I did put, you know, we did have the 211 sign up. And I think after our meeting, I'm going to do the 211 sign again. I found out that if, you know, the only way you could get a vaccination appointment was through the internet. But there's a lot of people who don't have internet. But if you call 211, they will help you get a vaccination appointment because they have internet and they can make it for you. So the 211 help number is just fantastic for what it can help people with. I mean, you got depression because you've lost your money and you don't, you know, I don't have a place to live. You can call 211 and they will try to connect you to the services that will help pull you out of where you are right now. So it's a great thing. And I want to put it up after our community meeting next week. I think the next sign that goes up is about our community meeting. But after that, let's put up the need help, call 211 sign again.
Good, I like it. And I mean, I really like the 10 o'clock church thing because I've not only had people ask, how do I donate items, but money. And
yeah,
really want to keep that flow going. It's overwhelming the area they cover. They literally distribute to people on 82nd Drive, Estacada, Colton, Malala. That church provides a lot to a lot of people. So
well, it's sort of interesting. It's sort of like the same thing, the Beavercreek Grange, the people who live, the people who work the Beavercreek Grange, who are part of the Beavercreek Grange, don't necessarily live in Beavercreek. In fact, most of them don't, but it's still a central focus point. And particularly for us, once we get back to being able to meeting in person again, it'll be a necessary feature for us. So I will work on the
Oh, great.
Beavercreek resources page. Now, I did not do the March 18th BCC Hamlet report. I didn't do that. I don't know if you did that, Tammy.
I'll talk about it under mine. I listened, but I didn't, but I'll go there later. Go ahead.
And the bylaws revision, I'm working on them. I have not finished them. I will get them out to everybody soon. And
Well, I'm hoping, I mean, we've got to approve them, get them to the county for our April. So it's, you know, a month away is our next town hall.
Yeah.
To do the first reading. Okay.
I that had slipped my mind, but
I know,
when
me
you
too.
put it on the agenda, I fully understand that I need to light a fire under me.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
And I don't know who is data reminder. I don't know what that means.
Oh, it was an email you sent and it was a data reminder about our, and you looked at it and said it was fine, but I didn't know if we wanted to bring that up here. It's a who is data reminder.
Oh.
Like beavercreek.org domain.
Yeah, it's Beavercreek. It's our website, our domain name of beavercreek.org.
Okay.
It's in good hands.
Good.
But the beavercreek.org registration expires in the end of May or June, something like that, coming up. It costs about $25 a year to maintain that registration. And I brought it up when I sent it off to you so that we could talk about it, so that I'm sure we want to retain beavercreek.org as our domain name, but we need to, you know, whatever we need to do to do that, we just need to do it. I'll be glad to personally renew it and send the invoice to Cheryl, or Cheryl can do it and send the invoice to herself. It doesn't matter. It's you know, an easy thing to do. But I wanted to bring it up that we are going to be having to spend, you know, 25 or 50 bucks to do that.
I don't think that's a motion because that's an ongoing expense. So I think it's, if you're good with charging that and submitting to Cheryl, that'd be super awesome.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay.
And that way it's also a little bit neater because it's not Cheryl doing it and Cheryl charging herself, and
Right.
So I'll be glad to do that.
Great. Thank you, Bill, very much. Anything else on your list?
No.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Let me know if I can help with the bylaws, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I did not ask Kenny about C4 or CRW. Did he mention anything, Jess? Or okay. All right, miscellaneous. I left a message 2 days ago with Bruce on the board, the trust board meeting. It was scheduled back in February, but we didn't have any power. So I'm pretty confident that conference call or the Zoom meeting for the trust board did not happen. But I was rather neglectful in following right up and saying, when is the next one we want to, you know, some of us need to be there to introduce ourselves and begin to be a part of following that trust or those trust meetings. So I'll wait to hear from Bruce. The BCC business meetings, again, they happen every Thursday. Normally we report on the third Thursday, I believe. For the Hamlet, I had absolutely nothing to report to them. And so I didn't. These meetings are every Thursday at 10 a.m. This is a Zoom meeting. It's both, it's hybrid. Some of the board are there present and some are on Zoom, and then you can testify in person or on Zoom. So that's all good. Anyway, they're 99% of what they're dealing with is COVID and wildfire cleanup and ice storm cleanup. And so a lot of emergency stuff still in the works and being handled and dealt with, and COVID shots. And so the first part of the business meeting is all that. And that usually takes half an hour to 45 minutes. And then they do consent agendas, and then they do water board stuff. And that's another half an hour to 45 minutes. Then it's community service or community input. And so you're a good hour and a half to 2 hours into it before you can do any testifying. Yeah, they moved it from the front of the meeting to the back of the meeting, which is incredibly unfortunate. I did send an email, but I never hear back. But
That was the
anyway,
whole
I know.
purpose. That was the
Pardon?
whole purpose. That
I
was the
know.
whole purpose, to discourage people from hanging around and giving their input.
Yep, it is. I mean, it's my opinion and your opinion. And so I have shot off a nice little email to the Committee for Citizen Involvement, sharing my concerns about the suppression of citizen involvement, because that's what it is. And so anyway, one of the meetings a month, and I want to say it's Tuesdays, is at 6 p.m. So you can do a PM meeting. I mean, I would love at some point for you to talk about all the ways you support the county bill in your transportation committees, and just kind of let them know all your involvements. And so maybe one of those 6 p.m.s would work for you. I think Stafford also reports on the second Tuesday, but so what? You can have 2 Hamlet reports. The other thing is we're only being granted 3 minutes. And I do in fact believe that Hamlets and CPOs are allowed 5 to 6 minutes. And I've got Katie working with Gary Schmidt on that to get that clarified, because I'm getting cut off right at 3 minutes, believe you me. And so that was that. There's still an incredible amount of citizen input that's pretty negative, and both ways, that the county needs to not care how commissioners act or feel, and other people saying people shouldn't be on the commission because they have issues. And so it's very controversial, and it is continuing to be. It's not, makes it pretty unpleasant, but is what it is. Okay. Wow, what is this? Oh, we had our 2021-2022 budget request and PGA update. That was a Zoom meeting with Sue Hildick, and Bill joined us, and Cheryl was able to come, and Sue Hildick, also 3 people from Malino, and 2 people from the Stafford Hamlet, and as well as like Katie and Kelly Lute. So it was a big Zoom, and not a lot of budget talk. You know, we asked for $3,000. We got 2,000. That's wonderful. I think with our major focuses of media and signage, I think that's going to support us even with other stuff like getting the wooden sign back up and taking down the shed and getting some things done. I think we're going to have plenty of money this year. But more was about PGA, since I can't believe Sue's been there almost 3 years already. But she said the vast majority of her time has been reorganizing the public and government affairs, not just the department itself, but shifting public and government affairs focus from serving other departments to serving the citizens. That's their focus now, and other departments support them in serving citizens. So love the shift, love it. Don't know how that's going to play out in the end. How does that impact us and what we're going to be seeing? But Sue is rather dedicated in figuring that out and letting us know. Cheryl or Bill, did I forget anything from that meeting?
I think that was pretty much it.
Okay.
It was a very good meeting. I think I came away encouraged.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Next, have you all heard? Oh, I think I sent the email on. The Metro transfer station is too small now, and so they're going to be shifting it out to Clackamas off of Jennifer Street. And yes.
I posted that information on the Hamlet website. There's a lot of good discussion about that. One of the downside issues, just like where it is now, right now, where the dump is now is where the dump was in the past, at the lake there, where everybody just threw stuff in the lake, and now it's a big problem, and it's burping up noxious gas all this time. Trouble with this location is it's right next to the Clackamas River, and if anything leaks out of this new landfill, it's likely to leak right into the Clackamas River, right across from where the south bank goes out there, forms a real sort of a triangle into the other side, across from the golf course. There's a golf course over there too, and the huge holly farm there. Lots of agriculture right across from this site. And if something goes into the water, it might cause some problems. It's also upstream of where many cities pull their water out of Clackamas to get fresh water for their citizens to drink. So again, if something goes into the Clackamas there, it could have really severe effects on what happens downstream from the new site. So it's a big discussion that I have to say that it looks like they jumped into it and made commitments before they should have, because it looks like it's really not in the right place, but it's a problem. And as you probably know, we take all of our garbage out to Arlington in the gorge. That's where all of Portland's garbage goes to. Almost all of it goes out the gorge, carried by huge semi-trailers on 84, going up 205, going across from the depository on the west side. It goes across Portland. It goes up 205 to get to 84, goes out 84. And it's like hundreds of trucks a day are taking our garbage from the Portland area out to Arlington. So it's a problem. We waste too much.
So there'll be a lot of public outreach on this, like a lot. And they're already at the Board of County Commissioners business meetings receiving testimony from people. Some in favor, some super not. Yep. Okay.
And it's posted on our, like I said, it's posted on our website. So anybody who goes to our website can find it and find out how to make comments.
Good. Thank you. You're picking up on exactly the right stuff to hit the website with, for sure. Last month we talked a little bit about our state representative, Christine Drazen, and that she and I had quite a long conversation about how Beavercreek is faring, and it was all really supportive. And man, I got on her list and I just get about a half a dozen emails a day. It's really hard to follow everything. I just try and peruse it, and I'll be just forwarding things that you might want to keep your finger on the pulse, like some of the most applicable House bills and that kind of stuff. One of the things she did bring up that I kind of neglected to bring up last month was she would love to host the Hamlet of Beavercreek board for a day at the Capitol and set up educational forums for people to come talk with us, to ask questions of us from a rural community. She just was giddy at the idea of creating a day for us down there. And so we need to think about that. I know personally, I would love to do that. I think it would be interesting, and I think it would help us understand that process, which makes us a better representative for our citizens, and how to better serve our citizens at a state level. So are we interested? Thoughts about that? Oh, Joe, yes. Cool. Cheryl, yes. Bill? Yep. Oh,
I think we should also coordinate with PGA and the members of PGA that routinely work with the state issues, so that we're on the same page with the county, or at least know where the county is if we're not on the same page, so that we can represent ourselves and also Clackamas County correctly, so that we're not coming off as a bunch of rubes out here in the rural area. Rather than,
that's a great idea, Bill, because I mean, they have their lobbyists, and I'm sure Katie could have one of them be a guest speaker at like a board meeting.
Yeah, in fact, I can't remember his name, but is it Chris? That's the.
Yeah, I think it is Chris.
Yeah, I think Chris he's a lobbyist, and he lobbies. He lobbies at the state, and he also lobbies in Washington.
It would be great.
Have him talk to us about what we should be talking about when we talk to the state.
That would be great. Obviously, not right away. This will be when things are cleared up. But she just loved the idea, and so do I. And I think it will be just fun to spend a day and have lunch and And, but yes, we could get Chris to come in and talk about the various things that the county's working on and the county's, what their stance is and what they're supporting. So I think it would be a neat thing to do.
Yep.
And she wants to host this. Okay. The final thing was, I don't know if I sent this letter on. I think I did. This was the letter from Sonia Fisher. You remember when Sonia received, well, actually the entire Board of County Commissioners received a letter from Alice, and she lives in the Beavercreek area off of Karis Road, and she just felt uncomfortable about the whole wildfire and militia and stuff like that. And so Sonia connected with us, and Bill and I met with Sonia and our citizen, Alice. We had a long conversation about the lack of diversity in Beavercreek, and that some people of color can not feel as comfortable, and then other things can happen to make them less comfortable, and how we can be supportive as a board for everyone in the Beavercreek area. So one of the things that Sonia had promised to do and did was follow up with the sheriff's department. And she met up with the new sheriff, Angie Brandenburg, and said and shared the concerns of Alice and all of the things that Bill and I had talked with them about. She acknowledged that there are lessons to be learned from the wildfires. Most importantly, that the sheriff's office needs to communicate earlier and more frequently with community members. They feel they were in control of the situation during the wildfires, and stronger messaging earlier on may have prevented some of the vigilantism that appears to have caused fear for community members. There's also interest in coordinating before emergencies happen to share what skill sets people have that could be useful during a flood or wildfire or power outage. The sheriff's office and other disaster management departments will be speaking about these ideas in their review of the emergencies we faced this last year. Finally, the sheriff said she plans to do more outreach with community groups such as Hamlets and CPOs, so that you know who to contact and work with, and they have that connection with you before emergencies strike. I think we are all seeing the importance of communication. So Sonia did follow up, and I thought got a fabulous response. I think we can all agree that we need to do more emergency preparedness, that communication is truly the key when you have wildfires or pandemics or ice storms. And so I'd love for possibly our sheriff to come chat with our community and talk about some of their plans in organizing rural communities so that we can better serve our citizens, not the county, but the citizens helping each other like we did with the ice storm, and how communications can help that happen.
Perfect contact Angie. Like I say, we're long time friends, and I will, how about try to shoot for the April meeting?
It's a town hall, and I think it's a great idea.
I will do that.
Wonderful, Jack. Thank you. Okay, so pretty pleased by that. Anything else there? Okay. The community meeting is next Wednesday, March 24th. I didn't send you an agenda out. It was basically this agenda way scaled down. So anything not on this agenda or anything on this agenda, well, I'll get it out to you and you can add anything. Normally I know what to put on it. One of the things I was at, I did a pickup at the Grange for the St. Patrick's Day dinner. I didn't eat there, but I just picked up a meal. It was really good, really good. But there were several people socially distanced eating dinner there. One was Ken Huberson, and he was, glad to see me, and we had a distance talk, and he's, how is it going, and da da da. And I said, well, I'm sure you're really busy doing lots of community stuff. Yes, I am. And I said, well, why don't you come be a guest speaker and tell us what you're doing? Because I'm kind of desperate for guest speakers now. So if it's good with you guys, I wouldn't mind just inviting him and ask him what he's been up to and anything, because he's in our Hamlet now, and
He's a community member.
yes, he is. So if you're good with that, I'd like to invite him just to tell us what life's like on the other side.
I'm
Okay?
happy
Yeah?
with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. And so maybe the reader board, Bill, don't put it up yet. Let me get an okay from him tomorrow.
And also just how much can I put on there? Because right now it says Hamlet Zoom meeting. That's one line at the top and it's really crowded. And then it says board today. And then there's a blank space, a blank line, and then beavercreek.org. So I didn't have a chance to say see beavercreek.org. I just left it blank because it was just so fast. But we'll change it to community and next Thursday. And we have one blank line. I can say guest Ken Huberson.
If you've got room for that, that'd be great.
I think
That'd be
so.
wonderful. And I'll absolutely let you know by tomorrow morning. I'll just text him tonight and I'm sure he'll be game to do that. So
Sure.
another thing I've been sort of thinking about is, who's back in the picture is Bill Kemmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he loves Beavercreek. And I know he's scrambling to come out of retirement and become our representative again. But I know in a heartbeat we could get him. So let's plan for him as a guest speaker soon. I think he will draw quite a crowd. He might be a good guest speaker. A good town hall person as well, I think.
Yeah.
He looks great. I've seen him
Okay.
on a bunch of Facebook stuff and he's going for it. He cracks me up. All right, guys.
One quick thing,
Yes. Oh, okay, Jack and then Cheryl.
I'm gonna give my my equivalent of 211, I guess. If any of you know of anybody or hear of anybody that's desperately trying to get vaccinated but are having all kinds of problems, okay? Tell them to go to albertsons.com. Albertsons here in Oregon City is doing an outstanding job of vaccinating people.
I have somebody that's in need.
When I went there Friday, I got there 20 minutes early for my appointment, which was at 12:30 for my second shot. And I says, I'm here early. I'll go sit and wait. And she says, no, come right around. She said, the 12 o'clock didn't show up. So I went and got my shot and we were chatting. And she says, I have 4 openings yet today. And a lady happened to come up to the counter while I was doing my 15-minute after. And this lady came up and said, I understand you guys give shots. How do I get signed up? And the woman told her, no problem, fill this out and I'll take care of you right now. And she told me that at at least one evening, that close to the 5 o'clock when they cut them off, when they stopped their appointments, she had a vial that still had like five doses in it. They went on the loudspeaker and said, if anybody wants to start vaccinations, come over. And
Wow.
she said, got the people and we used up rather than throw it away. Once they can't refreeze it or can't reuse it like they can with an unopened one, with the Moderna. So Albertsons and Albertsons Safeway both do it together. Something to pass on to anybody.
That's great, Jack. That's really great to know because I know Bonnie, my wife, was dialing for dollars. She spent like 4 or 5 days trying to get an appointment and never got more than a busy signal or stuff like that. And she was really getting depressed and dejected because she couldn't get a shot. And she's older than I am, and she's thinking, I got a shot, but I'm with a vet, so the VA. So that's how I got mine. And she was feeling just really, discouraged that she could not get vaccination. And so it's really great to know that they do that and have it as a possibility. I think Fred's is supposed to be doing that too, but I haven't heard anything about their, Kroger's setup. But that's great to know, Jack. I'll pass that along to people.
Good, good.
And I too have someone that's been looking and trying so hard. Cheryl, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, are you still looking for just regular speakers for meetings?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I'm trying to be a tiny bit careful just because Zoom is a little different for guest speakers.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I am. If you've got an idea, please don't keep it to yourself.
Just food for thought.
Yeah.
I don't know if there are any diversified organizations within the Hamlet of Beavercreek's boundaries. And if there are, maybe we could reach out to them, one of those organizations, to come and speak at the Hamlet. Open the diversity door.
I love it. Well, you know what? I'll just Google and see if I can find some organizations in the area. And if not, I'll bet you Katie can tap into some county, because I mean, they have a whole team that's dedicated to diversification, and I'll bet you they can find somebody in that. I would love it to be within the Hamlet boundary. But Cheryl, that's a great idea about things they're working on and successes and goals. And thank you.
I would think that church, the 10 o'clock church, is one that you'd want to consider.
Interesting.
That they, because they're definitely, I don't know how to say it exactly. They're diversified by all
Very
means.
inclusive, yeah, very inclusive.
They cater to the gay communities, and that's fine. And, I'm sure they have members of color and such like that. I think that they would maybe just what they're, what they do and how they serve the community, they might, and how the community can reach them in need.
Great. I mean, I've met Jennifer, the pastor, Jennifer, and I can certainly ask her. Bill?
Well, I was just thinking that not only 10 o'clock church, but the big Baptist church there in Fisher's Corner, they weren't in our Hamlet before, but now they are. So maybe we can reach out to them. And I know that they have regular services in at least Spanish. So, we can see if there's something we can get from them, or we can tell them about us, and they can maybe help us with some diversity.
That's great. Wouldn't that be wonderful to get someone of, some diversity from the Karis area? Score. I know. Cheryl?
One more thing. Could we have a conversation, the board, not tonight, maybe next board meeting, talk about planting the seed with citizens now, to give them time to think about volunteering to run on the board this fall.
And yet, I mean, the other point is we are going to have a potential 2 additional slots, 7 to 8 or 7 to 9. And so, yes, I mean, I'm obviously hoping incumbents will continue, but if not, there'll be that as well. But yes, I think we need to do some targeting marketing on that. And yet there's the reason for this media committee to move forward and really get moving. We've got to do this. This is so important. And thank you, Sherry. Yes, that would be so cool. Now, maybe Ken Humberson, but what are we going to do? No. Oh, well. All right.
Hey.
Anything else?
Just tell me when you're coming over.
Oh, yes. Well, we'll make a coffee date. That would be perfect. Garrett, are you still with us?
Are you? He's probably asleep.
Oh, look at him. What a trooper.
This is riveting.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You ready for the quiz now?
I'm here. I'm actually learning a lot. This is fascinating.
Yeah, we're fascinating.
It's interesting. I'm in Canby, so it's just interesting to learn about what else is going on.
Cool.
So you know, of course, Garrett, that none of the CPOs around Canby are active. So all of the people who live around Canby, out in the rural parts outside of the city of Canby, have no representation or no voice directly with the commissioners. So
Yep.
tell
Well,
them
I'm
to
a
get
city dweller, so
yeah, but that, you know, you're a city dweller, but all those people who are living right around you don't have a voice.
mhm.
Yep, that's, well, I know the CCI is working on it. Ever
Yep.
since we asked them to, we've got what, 3 or 4 now activated that weren't. So this is working, pushing, pressuring, and really sharing the values. So I'm very, very excited, but the mess behind you is growing, Garrett. Look at him. I know. Were you back there coloring again?
Yeah. I'm just gonna start hiding it more. There we go.
That's great.
All
Okay,
good.
if there is nothing else, please tell Kenny he was missed, Jessica. And thank you all. We'll see you all next Wednesday. I'm going to tell you right now, I am not going to be here in December, January, or February. You will find me in Arizona.
Cool.
I'm snowbirding with dogs and horses, and so I'll be out of here. But I know we can do, you know, virtual stuff, and you know, we've got Wi-Fi and hotspots and all that. But we rented a few friends and I rented a house on 8 acres, and yeah, and it's not only like we can have the dogs and horses there, and it's a gorgeous house, and then we've got our big living quarters trailers. But you know what? I should adjourn the meeting. Garrett, we are adjourned at 8:52, so you can stop recording.